Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Brett Roll. Alright, in addition to the other issues that we're dealing with my father, he is also having an issue where he has a buildup of fluid in his stomach. And so periodically he's been having a medical procedure called a paracentesis. So he was originally supposed to have this procedure at 1 p.m. today, but they decided that they wanted to bump it up and to right now. So basically I got a call from him at 7:45 saying they're going to do the procedure, and he just wanted me to be there. So I am walking into the hospital right now to get it wrapped up. All right, so I've gotten home after spending about 4 hours with my father this morning. He made it through his paracentesis all right. He pulled through that really well. Apparently that's something he's doing on about a weekly basis, and I guess that's the result of the liver damage. I guess what's happening is he gets some fluid buildup in his abdomen as a result of that, and that's been something that's been kind of ongoing for a while. And I guess he's having this procedure done about once a week, and they're pulling an awful lot of liquid out of his abdomen. So I guess today they got a little over 6 liters out of there. Now, if you really do the math, 1 liter is about 2.5 pounds, or 2.2 pounds for every liter. So, that's a good 10, 11, almost 12 pounds that they're pulling out of him every time they do this. And I guess 6 liters is kind of the low end of what they're getting. They pulled 8 or more out at times. So, this is just kind of an ongoing issue that we're going to have to deal with, and just all part of the equation. Now, after he got back to his room, he had some breakfast. They take his blood pressure. His blood pressure is still really, really low. I think they said it was 86/50, which is really dangerously scary low. And so he's really kind of weak and kind of a little lethargic. He was a bit out of it today. I thought when I talked to him on the phone this morning, he sounded normal, but when I got there after the procedure, he was kind of back to the way he was yesterday. Now, we had a good talk, and he talked about what's going on, what the future holds. One of the doctors today was saying that he might be able to be released as early as tomorrow, but even my father said, yeah, no, that's not a good idea. He needs to stay in the hospital until we get this all kind of under control, until we get his ammonia level controlled so that there's no more risk of the blackouts. A couple other doctors came in, and we're talking about, one of the doctors was dealing with kidneys and stuff like that. And I guess my dad is being a little resistant to taking some of the drugs. One of the drugs that he's taking is something that's supposed to help lower his ammonia level, and he's kind of fighting the doctor a little bit. I guess yesterday they wanted him to take 2 doses of it, and he took 1, and it just wasn't agreeing with his stomach, and it was affecting his ability to sleep. So when they came in and took the second one, or to administer the second one, he basically said, no, I don't want this because I want to sleep, and I don't like what it does to my stomach. And so, of course, this morning when he got up, his ammonia levels were higher than they were yesterday. So it was a little bit of a fight with him. Today we had 2 orderlies and a nurse and a doctor and myself all trying to talk him into taking this medicine, because they wanted him to take actually 4 of them today because his ammonia levels were higher today than they were yesterday. So, it was a bit of a fight with him, but eventually I think we, kind of won the battle. He ended up taking 1 dose while I was there, and I think, kind of agreed at some level that he's going to take it. He kind of negotiated him down to two doses today, and we're going to see how that goes. And initially it seems like that the doctor that was treating him said since his ammonia levels were higher today, they wanted him to take more doses than normal, and I think the nurse may have translated more doses into 4, because when other doctors came in and started talking, they kind of negotiated down to 2, and said, if you can get to the point where we can start lowering your levels with just 2 doses, we might do that, but it all kind of depends on you and how it goes along. So, my father and I talked after a while. He ate his breakfast this morning, which is good. His appetite's coming back, so we're really happy about that. And then he and I had just a good long talk about what happens next. Um, at that point, he said, when the doctor mentioned the possibility of him coming home tomorrow, even my dad said, no, that's not good. I don't want to leave here until we get this situation under control. And my mom and I all kind of agree with that, because right now, my mom is kind of confined to a wheelchair, and she needs my dad to be the primary care person in the house. And she's not really able to give him the kind of help that he needs at this point. So he needs to stay in the hospital until his ammonia levels and his electrolyte levels are back to normal, until his blood pressure is back up to normal, so that we can know that he can safely be here and be capable of taking care of my mom if he needs to, rather than having my mom just have to hope that nothing happens to him. And because the only thing she can do if something goes wrong is just call 911, and that's not a good thing either. So I don't know, we're playing it by ear, kind of taking it day by day, but he's kind of getting to the point where he's fighting the doctors a little bit. But I think we kind of talked him into realizing he has to kind of do what they say, even if he doesn't like it. So that's kind of where we are today. I think what's going to maybe happen, we may text him and see if he feels like it. My mom and I may go visit him a little later. The reason that we didn't go down earlier is because he'd had kind of a big day. He hasn't been sleeping really well, and that's all kind of, I think, part of the issue with this medicine that he's kind of fighting the doctors about taking, is because it also affects his sleep patterns. And apparently he didn't sleep very well last night, and he was telling me this morning that just about the time that he started nodding off, that was when the nurses came in and needed to take his blood pressure, and that woke him up. And then he was up early because they did his paracentesis this morning, and then it was just nonstop doctors and nurses and orderlies and interns coming in after that. So after we finally kind of chased them all out of there, he talked to me for a good half hour, 45 minutes, just kind of let me know what was going on in his mind, where he's expecting this to go, and what comes next. I guess the next big thing is something called that TIPS procedure that I told you about, and obviously they got to stabilize everything else before they can do that. So he's hoping that that's going to be kind of, once he gets that done, that he'll be a little better off and be feel a little better and be a little bit more in control of the situation, and that we can consider bringing him back home again. But after that, like I said, I was there until about noon, and after he kind of finished telling me what he wanted to say, he asked me if I had any questions, and basically I do have some questions, but unfortunately what I know about what's going on with him is what he's telling me, and he's not a doctor, so he can't really kind of answer the questions that I have. So I think I got to wait until I get a chance to talk to the doctor myself, or at least do some research online to kind of fill in some of the blanks, because I asked him a couple questions today, and it basically, he said, no, that's not really how it works. It's something else that's causing this, that, or the other thing. So I don't really understand it all myself, and I need to fill in the blanks, but I don't think he's the person to do it right now, because he doesn't know any better than I do about what's really going on. So like I said, I got to do a little research on that. But after that, he kind of started nodding off a little bit. I think he's just exhausted. He nodded off on me a couple times where he'd just kind of close his eyes for a couple seconds, and then he'd be back again. And then like the third or fourth time he closed his eyes, and I waited a minute, he didn't come back, and 2 minutes and 5 minutes, and he still didn't come back. So I think he just fell asleep. So I decided at that point, you know what, that's a good thing. Let's just let him take a nap. He's tired, and like I said, we're going to give him we gave him a few hours, and I think we're going to text him and see if he feels like a visitor, and if so, my mom and I may go visit him. But that's kind of where we stand right now. I'm just kind of helping my mom around the house. One of the things she said to me yesterday when I arrived is she had some projects for me to do for her. So one of them was, she wanted me to replace a toilet seat. That was a simple task. I figured, a couple of things that she wants me to do might turn into good vlogs, but replacing a toilet seat, that's kind of boring. So I just did that today. We got that taken care of. But there are a couple other things that I may do for her in the next few days that I may turn into vlogs, and we'll go from there. But that's really all I have to talk. That's really all I have to talk about right now. So thank you as always for watching. Please keep the prayers coming for my father, and thank you for watching. And I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.